Taryl here, and as promised, we're going to do the update video on the repower on the Permagreen Triumph gas-powered spreader. So we did a video repowering this back in late January, and now we're in the middle of September. And the customer is very happy with the performance of the engine over the Honda. He likes the way it starts a lot easier, and he had to bring it back a couple of times when we first gave it to him because we had to get the speed right. Because in order for this to work correctly, it's got to drive at a certain speed in order to throw the fertilizer evenly. Otherwise, it'll mess up people's lawns. So we had to mess with the speed. So if you notice, this has got a low and a high on the transmission. And they said they only ran it in high when they had the Honda engine on there. So when we repowered it, when they put it in high, it went too fast, and when they put it in low, it'd go too slow. So what I ended up having to do was I had to change the pulley down there that was on the transmission. I had to change it to a 5-inch diameter pulley. And then we used one of their other spreaders, and we would go side by side till we got the speed right. So now they drive it in low gear, which used to be their high gear. And now when they put it in high gear, it goes pretty fast, and they like that. And I'll tell you why they like it. Because when they're fertilizing lawns in low, and they get done fertilizing, or they run out of fertilizer and they got to go back to the truck and refill the hopper, they can put it in high like a transport speed. Get back to the truck fast, load it up, and then go back on the lawn, drop it in low, and they're at the speed they need to be. Whereas before, they were in high. And then when they got done and were fertilizing the lawn, or they had to go back to fill up the hopper with fertilizer, you know, they're putting along in high gear, and it's like, this thing isn't fast enough. So they like that. Another problem we ran into was this belt clutch I had put on there. It just had a bushing in there, a bronze bushing, and that bushing gave out right away. So I went on the inner screen and I got a better belt clutch that has an actual ball bearing in here. A lot heavier duty belt clutch with a ball bearing. So that worked good. One other problem they had was when they would turn it on and off. This shuts the motor off and it shuts the gas off at the same time. I rewired it. I took away the switch that was up here from Permagreen. I eliminated this on-off switch, and then we rewired it so that way when you shut it off, it shuts the motor off and shuts the gas off. Now the problem they were having was the little valve in there, the little gas valve was sticking, and we'll show you that. Now the only other issue we had with the Vanguard is occasionally this fuel shutoff valve would stick. And the way this works is when you move that lever back and forth, it pushes this up and down, which opens and closes the gas. See how it pushes that? And probably due to the fertilizer, it would get corroded and that thing would stick down. So when you would open it, it wouldn't open up. So they really need to kind of change that design. And if you notice, you're probably noticing this sticky stuff that's on there. That's this fluid film. And Permagreen suggests you spray this all over any kind of metal parts that are on the spreader to keep it from corroding. And the reason they want you to use this is because it doesn't have any solvents in it. It's lanolin based. So when you spray it all over any kind of metal parts on the engine, they tend to not rust as fast from the fertilizer. Because if you notice, what is it, 7 months that this thing's been out. See what the fertilizer does to it? Does the same thing to the Honda. Anything that's metal, it corrodes it. So there's your repower update on the Triumph spreader with the Vanguard motor on it. Take the place of that Honda. Remember to subscribe to this YouTube channel, Taryl Fixes All. Follow me, Facebook and Instagram. Come on, follow me. Go to our web store, buy some Taryl Apparel. And as always, there's your dinner.